Hi guys, welcome to another interesting segment on Home Truth Niger. Today I want to talk on a topic: are Nigerian men jealous and controlling? This question was selected by a viewer who wanted me to talk on this topic. So this is another important topic, and it's cool to know how Nigerian men react, or what triggers Nigerian men to be jealous, and why um, they try to be controlling, most especially display this emotions. It's important to know that an average Nigerian man has the tendency, just like every other man across the world, to be jealous and controlling. It's important to understand that there are women who actually enjoy, their men be to be controlling and also exhibit some form of jealousy. There are women who feel like when a man is actually jealous, it shows that he's actually really into you, and some of them do things to actually trigger these emotions just to see how they react to things and how they handle things. So the question is, are Nigerian men jealous and controlling? And if you ask me, I would say yes. Absolutely. A big nod. Yes. Yes, a resounding yes. Nigerian men can and are jealous and controlling like every other man across the world. So the big question is, as always, why are Nigerian men jealous and controlling, most especially in relationship? Why do they exhibit this behavior? Let's start with jealousy, and today I want to look or talk about two key factors that would make a Nigerian man to react jealously. So the very first one is when he feels neglected. When he feels neglected, this is the first reason Nigerian men would react jealously to you. Nigerian men are raised as gods, literally raised like gods. And for this reason, when they are in a relationship with you, they always want to be the center of attraction. They want their life and everything they do to matter to you. Therefore, when they feel like you're not giving them that attention they duly need, they will start feeling jealous. He will start thinking you're probably giving another person this attention that is meant basically for him. And when he gets this feeling that this attention that you are supposed to, give to him, you would see him go into his detective mode. When he goes into this detective mode, this is him trying to unravel what and why would have led you to neglecting him, or what would have brought about you neglecting him. You will see him doing things as eavesdropping when you're making call or having a conversation, or sometimes stealing your phone to go read your conversation, most especially when you are fast asleep in the dead of the night. So this is one reason that could make a Nigerian actually react jealously to you, this jealous emotion. So, ladies, watch out. The second point I want to talk about is when you are too close to another man. This is another reason when you come too close to another man who is not your brother or relative. For instance, hugging another man in his presence, where when you hug another man in the presence of a Nigerian, it's seen as an insult. When you're with a Nigerian man, you have to be careful how you hug another person who is not your sibling or relative, as this could evoke jealousy, because he would start thinking, and the moment he starts thinking as regards, is this what you do with every Tom, Dick, and Harry? Is it that you go about hugging every man you see on the street, your place of work, or what have you? It brings about this jealousy, and from there it leads to him suspecting you, and in so doing you see him gradually losing trusts with you on you. And that is one horrible thing to have when you're dating Nigerian. The moment he starts suspecting you, and I always say to ladies, when you are going anywhere with your Nigerian man, be it going for a party, going for an event, going to see people, going on a stroll, going to see a friend, or anything that brings you outside. Try not to hug any man who is not family. Most Nigerian men see it as total disrespect. Try as much as possible to avoid it. Second, let's talk about controlling. Nigerian men can be very controlling, too controlling in some cases, and sometimes less controlling. I've had cases like this where ladies like, oh, my Nigerian guy is so controlling. I think he's this, is that, and I always tell them, no, it's not what you think. You need to go back to the roots. You need to understand that the controlling nature you see is very, very typical and common in African men, most especially also Nigerian men. Sometimes it is something that is deeply rooted in the African tradition. I've always said that the African tradition is a patriarchal tradition, is a tradition that makes men feel like they are gods. In most African society, the man is the head of the house. He dictates most things and how things should be done. Basically, he controls everything the way he feels and like. Therefore, when you, as a little man or a little boy or a young boy coming up, or when you're coming up as a male child in an African home, you automatically you are conscious of the privilege or power you hold for being a male child. You feel that as a little boy there are things I could do and get away with, and when a lady does that, she wouldn't get away with it. They would go and reprimand the lady and say, "No, you're not supposed to do that." And when the little girl is asking, "But he did that," and the next thing you hear, because he's a man, he can do that because he's a man. No, so you grew up with this kind of understanding, and sometimes when a Nigerian man or an African man, wants a woman, they always go for a woman. In most cases, they can lord or control in most things. Of course, time is of course with the recent event of things. Time is actually changing some of this narrative. However, I can tell you that statistically, out of 10, you have a ratio of 8 out of 10 Nigerian men who are controlling, and they feel it's some kind of masculinity. They feel it makes them feel more manly when they display this. So the big question we always would ask is, why do they control? Now I've made us to understand how deeply rooted it is in the African tradition, why men in Africa and Nigeria try to be more domineering and controlling, because it's just something that is part of our patriarchal tradition. So why do they do it? The major reason they do it is because it is a symbol of authority. When a Nigerian man is controlling, it is to him a symbol of authority. The man always assumes the position of the head in Nigeria and homes. So this position of headship and power, uh, for instance, in Africa, is always attributed or designated to the man or the male child. Now, I'll give you a classical example. If you're coming up in Nigeria and your father dies at a tender when you're a young boy, automatically the responsibility or the headship of the family goes to the first male child, irrespective of his age. They grow up taking care of the family, they grow up being responsible, they mature quicker because responsibility is bequeathed on them at a very tender age. So when they grow up with this ideology and they meet you coming from another part of the world, they don't understand it. They believe it's the same. They believe you're like every woman in Africa or in Nigeria. So they try to do the same thing with you. In Nigeria, I'll give you a classical example. If your family is misbehaving or your family is not in order, they don't go to the mom to talk to her. They go to the father to put the family in order. People go to the father to say, listen, your family is misbehaving. You need to speak to your family and put them in order, because they see the man as the authority or power in the home. Hence, it is important, you know, to go to him and discuss it with him about things that he should effect or change in the family. So when you date a Nigerian, one of the very first things they will make you understand is that, hey, listen, I am in charge of this relationship. I am the boss. When you date a Nigerian man will make you understand that he is the boss. One way or the other, indirectly. He may not come out to, like, tell you in a very assertive way. He may come in one way or the other to make you understand that, no, I make the decision. And there are people who say that if you are dating a Nigerian man who is not trying to kind of like assert his position over you, that it gets to a point where you guys have to discuss to say, okay, this may happen in Africa, but it doesn't happen here. Uh, if you're dating a man who hasn't tried, who's always like, yes, yes, a yes man, yes to everything, chances are you're being led, you're being used or scammed. Because when you date a Nigerian man who truly wants to be with you, one of the first problems you guys will have is the fact that he wants to control everything and be like the head. When you don't see him display that, there are chances that you are being scammed. So in conclusion, things are changing. Some Nigerian men are becoming more flexible and relaxed in terms of control and the way they express or show their emotions when they are jealous. However, it's also important for ladies. I always say this to to know um, that jealousy and excessive controlling could as well be very, very detrimental to your mental health. And I always say you should, in every situation when you are in a relationship, know when to walk out if you feel that the level of jealousy and control is overbearing, and it's one way or the other damaging you. You have the liberty to walk out. And guys, with this, again, I would like to say thank you very much for listening to this video. Just like I said in the last video, if you have any topic you want me to treat, you want me to talk about, share my opinion, write it on the comments or send me an email on hometruth86@gmail.com. Please, as usual, like, share, and subscribe. I wish you guys a lovely day. Cheers. This is me, Home Truth Ninja. Peace out.